Hello. It is I. We were back. It's episode 245 of the Pro Synth Network show, and I seem to be sitting a little bit low in the frame. Let me just give myself that. There we go. I think that's better. There we go. Yes, I think that'll do. Welcome to the show. Of course, this is very live, and we are here with you with another week's worth of topic discussion, special guest, general flim-flam, and some flotsam and jetsam thrown in for good measure. If you've not watched the show before, I'm sorry that you've missed out on 244 episodes of awesomeness, but it's time to make up. So feel free to go back through the catalogue. We do actually have a viewer who is going through all of the shows that they missed from number one right through, and they're commenting on the various videos. So I get a comment on show like 67, and I'm like, who's commenting on show 67? And it's this guy who's going through. So well done, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed.
Very much.
So welcome to the show, and we've got guests galore. Well, I say guests galore. We've got one.
One.
That'll do. That's all we can fit in. Yeah. Oh, actually, no. Yes, we have. There's additional bonus guests. Indeed. But before we introduce them and welcome them into the fold, let's go through the regular shenanigans of promoting and sharing and subscribing and all that rubbish. So if you haven't already, please do give us a like, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. YouTube doesn't really care. It's engagement either way. But if you like what you see, do give us a thumbs up, because that helps promote the feed into other people's feeds. Something like that. And of course, you can comment throughout the show. If you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or not LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, you can use their various facilities to chat with us in the chat box, and we will respond mostly and generally favourably. You can also comment down below if you're watching on catch up, and if you are, how is it in the future? Is it good? Have we got hoverboards yet? But do leave a comment down there. We love to hear from you guys and girls. And it's fantastic to know that people do actually sort of make an effort to come and see us, which is very nice. If you haven't already and you don't want to miss anything, give us a subscribe. That makes sure that you get notifications of all of our shows so you won't miss them. And if you know somebody who would enjoy the show and doesn't already, send them the link. Share us around. It'll be fantastic. Thank you very much indeed for that. We are a completely not-for-profit organisation as far as the YouTube channel is concerned. And so, therefore, we rely on our viewers to help us, put this all on. And you do so magnificently. If you haven't done already and you want to, you can subscribe to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/ProSynth Network. And for a minimum of $2 a month, you will get some extra goodies, things like sound sets for your synthesizers, videos that don't appear on the YouTube channel, and other stuff as well. Maybe Kent in his underwear, if you're lucky. So that's there, and it's a minimum $2 a month. Also, similarly, you can do that with YouTube. You can become a YouTube channel member. You'll get all of that free stuff, plus Kent in his undies, for just $2 a month.
How much, out of interest, for PSN on the Matrix Brute?
What?
PSN on the Matrix Brute. You used to spell it out. I missed that.
Only on certain occasions. Special occasions only.
Oh.
Will
$5 do it?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But that means I have to turn around and do it, and it takes a while for me to go figure out the configurations. Anyway, you can also follow us on social media. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Threads, and now TikTok, as well as Blue Sky, because we ditched the dumpster fire that was Twitter. So we're on Blue Sky as well now. So if you want to follow us on Blue Sky, if you've just joined Blue Sky because it's enjoying an enormous popularity boost, please go and find us there. That would be fantastic. Have I told you that we do merchandise? We do merchandise. We actually do merchandise. Wow. We've got some merchandise pictures coming up as well. So more people have had stuff delivered, and they're going to be they've taken pictures. They're going to be sending them in, and we're going to be showing them. But if you haven't already, you can. Let's see. Let's put this full screen. Here we go. There's the merchandise store. And you can buy all sorts of things. Look at that. You can buy jogging bottoms if you're feeling fit and healthy. You can buy dress if you like. There's stickers, a brand new set of stickers that we've put up there as well. There's zipped hoodies, there's mugs, there's T-shirts. all sorts of gubbins in there. There's even Christmas jumpers, although if you order one of those now, it won't be delivered before Christmas. But I have seen some of them coming through. Kent's even got one.
It could be through before Christmas next year.
Could be, possibly. There's the insulated tumbler. There's the mouse mats, all sorts of stuff in there. There's the cartoon T-shirts as well. I believe the most popular cartoon T-shirt at the moment is the Kent Spong. Not at all surprised by that.
Of course.
But there you go. Merchandise is available. Feel free to avail yourself of some goodies there. If you get some Christmas money, then maybe hang on to it until Boxing Day, because there might be a promotion going. You never know. But there you go. Merchandise. And of course, everything we make off of that helps pay all the bills, because those bills have gone significantly up. As we mentioned last week, our streaming costs have virtually doubled this year. So we do rely on your support, and we do get it, and we appreciate it, and we love you for it. Thank you very much indeed. If you've got a question for us tonight or for our guest, please put a big capital Q in front of it, because that helps us see it, because we're old and our eyes aren't working. I'm old, I cannot see. So please do that and help us throughout the show. Let's see, what have we got now? Let's see who's in the chat. Well, thank you very much indeed. Mr. Viral Beats in the chat has gifted 5 ProSynth Network memberships. Yay! Thank you so much. So 5 of you. I don't know, does it tell me who got those gifts? If maybe, VB, if you can tell us who got those gifts. That's a completely and utterly generous thing to do. And that is something else that you can do if you want to donate a PlayStation ProSynth Network. I'm going to quit. I'm just going to go home.
If you want to donate a Polybrute,
yes,
12.
a PlayStation 5 Pro. If you want to donate one of those to me, thank you very much. Have one of those. But thank you very much indeed, Viral Beats. I've been getting to know Mr. Beats over at the Symptoms of Reality stream. Which we thoroughly recommend you go and sign up to and join in, because that's the whole point. Join in as much as you can, whether it's in the chat or if they're opening up the stream to guests. Go and join in there. They're incredible. So a big hello to Marilyn, to Lamar and Lamont. And I won't. I was going to repeat back one of Lamont's favourite phrases there, but I think that might get us taken off air. So we won't do that. But thank you ever so much indeed for that. And who else here? We've got a brand new member. I don't know, was this one of the gifts? I don't know whether this was one of the gifts, but Andy Synchrotron has become a YouTube member. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, and thank you.
Of course, don't forget, Andy has a stream at 10 o'clock in the morning, UK time, which I thoroughly recommend you go and watch, because he does amazing droney stuff with guitars, and it's brilliant. So go and check him out. Thank you. And don't know why that's done that for. Wagyu, that's ominous. 6 and 66 chuffs.
Is there a PSM bikini?
I haven't put the bikini up yet, but if somebody wants the bikini, I will make the bikini.
I would wear the bikini.
I'd pay you not to.
There we go.
But
comments, please.
I will do a bikini, because with the little sine wave logo on each side, shall we say. But thank you, Wagyu, for your support. It is most appreciated. And to everyone that's in the chat, including our wonderful moderators. Andy Brooks, good to see you, sir. Haven't seen you around for a little while. Is Ben from Musines around? And yes, here's another one. Where is that great that's usually on? Thank you in advance. I don't know. I have no idea where Kent Spong is, because all we've got in terms of co-hosts is this fellow.
Oh, good evening.
Suitably attired for our guest.
Yeah, I put that on first, a lovely cravat, and then I thought it wasn't posh enough, so I put that on, and now I'm sweating like a fat ass.
I'm sure he appreciates it.
I'm sure he does.
Indeed.
And I was also going to say, I really, really, really like seeing the photos and the vids of people with the merch. They're brilliant.
They're
good.
They're
absolutely brilliant. So keep sending them in.
Got a belter for you today. An absolute belter.
Not a bikini though.
It's one of our viewers with an incredibly large instrument. And that's all I'm saying. And he's suitably attired. He's suitably attired. That noise you heard in the background was the anarchic, the very Welsh, and our very special guest this week. We should have got him on the show far earlier than that, but he's here now. Okay,
I'm here now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one and only Jason Jervis.
Thank you all, and what a pleasure it is to be invited onto your fabulous show. I've been watching eons.
It's a pleasure to have you.
No, it's great to be here. Thanks.
First question of the evening. Where's Jackson, apparently? Wagyu is asking, where is Jackson? Under the table, as where Jackson always is.
He just gets in the way. It's just like, I've kicked the cat. And it's like...
Oh, I'm telling.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure Jackson will probably
services.
make an appearance. Yeah, he'll make an appearance.
Oh, he definitely
at some
will.
point. Yeah. Anyway, and Tom was glowing in the corner. Oh, Tom's moved over there now. He was glowing in the corner.
I've got treats, so they'll both come.
Fantastic.
Called.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a crazy year. We're nearly at the end of it, aren't we?
I
how did
know,
that
right?
happen?
It's bonkers.
I mean, December the 13th, Friday.
It's Friday
the
the
13th.
Yeah, now talk that up.
666 chuffing
I know.
Swiss chuffs. That's what Wagyu gifted. I mean, that's
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, we could have
possibly
cats.
go-
More cats than we've
could have
got
more cats, yeah.
appearing. We could manifest more things. I mean, 12-12 portal yesterday. Did you manifest? I did.
No.
What is going on today? What are we talking about?
Don't just stand there, man. Get it out.
Get it out.
Get
How-
it out.
How is my namesake, by the way?
Oh, can we talk about you?
Oh,
Yeah,
go on then,
'Cause-
if you
'cause
must.
should we? I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna look at you.
Didn't you
Look.
drop me last week?
I dropped you multiple times. You'd lost your casing, so you're naked. Cover yourself up. Let's just do the top down.
Exposed.
Look at that.
Oh,
So what I'm going to do
I've been castrated.
is I'm going to retire Robbie. Like
As so
this.
many people wish you would. I'm sure.
But in your place, we've got Robbie 2.0.
Oh, thank you, Roberto.
Robbie 2.0. Boom, boom.
Look at that. There's a bit more of you as well, so a lot more to love.
That's pretty appropriate. Yeah, there's a lot more of me now than there was.
And we have a much nicer blank canvas, which might take some very specific 80s lettering.
Oh, that'll do. I approve of that.
Yeah, I think so. So that's what I'll be doing in my time off over Christmas.
Good. What is that awful mess that you have in front of you? What is
You
that?
mean linguine?
Has somebody turned the synthesizer inside out and just left it on your desk?
I thought because this is a synth show, I'd bring a real synthesizer.
Here we go.
Where is it then?
And we can
We've started.
and we can do away with letterbox window. And we can actually go back to patch chords and how things should be connected together, where you can
warn you
see the
all.
No,
connections.
I agree. They should be connected, but that should be done under the panel, not on top of it.
Let me just zoom in here. Oh, it's not even on though, but this is an FM module. Look at that, and it's got knobs. You can actually adjust and create new timbres in digital.
That's like showing a car enthusiast a Skoda and saying, "Well, it's got wheels."
Oh.
I apologise to Skoda. Skodas are actually really good cars, but
And it was that moment that Robbie had really insulted Rick Modular. And later on that day, Rick got into his car and beat up Robbie in his home.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
dear.
bless you. No.
Listen, mate,
But,
it's brilliant to have you on, and
Great to be
we
here.
will talk with you a little bit about yourself. We'll find out. For those people that aren't aware who Jason is, he has his own YouTube channel, which is called Get Jervis, as you can see there in the title. You stream mostly regularly on Tuesday evenings at 8 and Sunday nights at 10.
He's very regular.
And then other bits in
very
between.
regular.
Yes.
Yeah, occasionally. But I mean, the thing I think I've done prior to the streaming is I've done lots of little content for Tomann and stuff. We'll talk about that later. But
Yeah.
But I haven't done proper video for a little while. So there's some of that coming up as well. So
I'm still waiting for Bristronica, because you were all over the place at Bristronica. You cornered me and many other people.
I did.
With your wonderful crew of your son and daughter as well.
That's right.
Who looked so happy to be there. That's E's face right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like,
bless her.
Thanks, Dad.
that's the other one, E&G.
Yeah. She's a sweet
No,
girl.
kids,
She does you proud.
You'll love it. You'll love it, kids. It's lots of old men with synthesizers.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dear. Anyway, I don't know. Look, Kent was in the chat. I saw him in the chat. I don't know why he isn't in the room, and he's not sent me any messages. So I don't know where he is, but hopefully he will arrive at some point.
I hope he turns up too.
Yes. But Kent,
come on in. There's room
sort
for
it
you
out.
here or there.
Yeah. We'll stick. Well, we'll do something. We'll move you around. But come on. Anyway, it's 7:20 already. We're talking this show away completely. Before we get into Jason, or maybe I should rephrase that. Before we start talking,
do we need to bring this out again?
Indeed. Hang on. Robert Fatness Hex has donated £5 to the cause. Thank you very much. Jason is my hot ass. And he's just got his Voltage Lab 2 from Pittsburgh Modular. So we look forward to hearing more about that.
Excellent. Now
that looks quite a thing for sure. Absolutely. Oh, sure. Sir.
You need wires for that, though.
You do. You do. No. Well, if you watched the show last week, you'll have seen me actually getting a little bit excited about the Bob Moog Foundation's prize that they've got, which is $20,000 worth of Eurorack.
Oh, that's just
carefully curated.
Carefully curated by the wonderful Chris Meyer, who was on the show as well. Go and watch that if you want to see.
What a lovely guy Chris is as well.
Yeah.
I hope we're going to have him on again. He's a
definitely will.
He knows his stuff.
He's up.
I met him at the first super booth that I did for Tomann, actually.
I
think did I interview him? I think I did. Oh no, I didn't. I interviewed the man himself. Sequential. So,
yes. Yeah.
I thought you meant Robbie.
No, he's interviewed me twice.
Dave Smith.
I see. Interviewed Robbie.
I have actually. Yeah.
But to do that, you have to go to the shows to be accosted.
What?
To be accosted.
What?
He comes up behind you and
man.
he clips this little microphone and then shoves a camera in your face and says,
No,
"Talk, monkey."
Talk, monkey, talk.
Yeah, and it's what I do. It's what I do best, apparently. Anyway, let's talk synthesizers, shall we? Because that's kind of what we're here for. Surprisingly, this week there has been some news, and it's incredibly one-sided. What could we be talking about? I don't know where to start with these, so I'll just pick one and go. But unfortunately, most of the promo videos are quite long, so I'm just going to play the first 30 seconds or so, and we'll go from there. Let's start small, and we'll build up, shall we? Let's start with this one, which is from Behringer. It is the JT Mini.
So judging by the feedback from all you awesome synth heads out there, our mini series got off to a pretty cracking start with the Pro VS Mini. I mean, who doesn't like a good compact hybrid synthesizer? But what do you reckon, guys? Is it time to add to the series? Perhaps with something fully analog this time? Yeah, we think so too. Introducing the JT Mini.
So there you go. This is the Behringer JT Mini. And to quote one of our moderators who made probably the most accurate observation, this is Behringer's hold my beer moment after Roland said, shall we do a Jupiter 8 clone and only give it 4 voices? Behringer come along and only give it 3 voices. And it's paraphonic as well. So there we go. So we got the JT Mini. It is a small tabletop desktop pocket machine even, but though you can't use batteries with it. But it's 3 voices. It is modelled on the Jupiter Voice inside a Roland Jupiter 8. But it's 3-voice polyphonic. It has a built-in arpeggiator. It has a filter. And other little gubbins. It has sync and MIDI connectivity, USB-C. Sounds all right in the demos.
But
What do you think?
Polychain it.
Well, yeah, that's the. At least
Do you know what I mean?
If
you can polychain it, then you can get a Jupiter 8 and a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing. You see, you can either have a 9-voice if you can do that, or But no, because the boutique one you could polychain. Because I scoffed at the claim in the user manual of the boutique Jupiter, where it says for the full Jupiter experience you can polychain 2. I thought I was getting the full Jupiter experience by buying this, but anyway.
Exactly.
This is going to be about what, 70, 80 quid?
£88, I think.
88 pounds. I know, it's crazy.
Isn't it? How cheap?
Very,
Well,
yeah.
So let's just get on to the theme now, because it is cheap, but it sounds bloody good. For 88 quid, it sounds really, really good. And I know that we have in the past been somewhat disparaging of certain manufacturers, but look, let's just get over ourselves on this. This is a very cheap, very good sounding synth. Yes, it's only got 3 voices. You can do a lot with that. For an awful lot of us are doing 1 voice at a time. Having the ability to have 2 or 3 voices is great. Yeah, this is the same kind of price as a module. So as a Eurorack module, in fact, it's slightly less than a lot.
It's a lot less than a
So
£400 that FM one.
So it's and it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. So do you know what? I'm with it. I'm deeply impressed with it. I wish it had separate envelopes for the amp and filter. I wish they were, you could switch between them, but that could always be firmware updated. But that to one side, it sounds amazing. It sounds really good.
I mean, that's one thing that the Behringer have got, and I guess have always had, is an ability to provide you with, forget the politics, but to provide you with the piece of kit that you want but can't afford at a price that you can't say no to.
Yeah.
So, they are opening the door, and it is a kind of gateway drug.
And I guess, I mean, I've not actually heard it except in the demos, and in the demos, I have to be honest, I don't think it sounds particularly like a Jupiter 8. It sounds more like maybe a 6 or something like that, but doesn't matter.
So judging by the feedback from all you awesome synth heads out there, our mini series got off to a pretty cracking start with the Pro VS Mini.
I know what it is.
Who doesn't?
There we go. There we go. They wanted to get a word. They wanted the right to reply.
Oh, they did, and he will get it.
So it doesn't sound particularly to my ears like a Jupiter 8, but I don't care. It sounds good. It sounds really good, and it does, it feels like a 2-voice 101 or something like that almost. There's something rather lovely about it. So, yeah, good on them. 88 quid.
Aye, yes.
Go on, what?
It's a small portable synth, okay?
Yeah.
That cannot be powered without either mains or a USB brick, which then means you have to take 2 bottles into the shower.
Wash and not go.
Exactly. So I'm disappointed it doesn't have a battery function.
Yeah. It's a bit daft, isn't it? Oh, Robbie, I kicked you under the table as well. Sorry.
Will you stop the abuse?
Sorry.
Getting a right kicking. But I mean, is that what it's for? Because it's only got 3 voices and it's not multi-timbre. I'm not sure I'd take this travelling with me anyway. But whatever. But I would probably have it on my desktop. It's small enough to sit it there just to run up a voice like a bass synth or something. I'm not that fussed about that. I'm really not, and not at that price.
There we go, in the middle. I don't know. Like you say, it's paraphonic as opposed to polyphonic, so that's a slight down thing. But it's got a built-in arpeggiator. So I think if you're looking for those kind of classic Jupiter arpeggiated sounds, of which there were numerous. Think about Save a Prayer, for example.
Duran.
Yeah, exactly. Then this might actually be quite a fun thing. And it's got a little record function in there, and like you say, yeah, single envelope. But yeah, I mean, like you say, you can't argue with it because of the price, and yeah, if you want a full-blown Jupiter experience with 21st century hardware, you have options. You have the
Of course you do.
the Black Corporations, or the Arturia software,
Arturia. Yeah, software. I mean, that's not that far off price-wise. I mean, if you think about what they do, how much that costs per synth. How many in their collection, the V collection? How many synths in that now?
30-something now, isn't there?
I did a review of it a few years back, and it worked out something like 20 quid a synth or something ridiculous. It's like it's beyond, and they're good,
Yeah.
So you've got options, but then you don't have to spend. It's more than 88 quid, isn't it, to buy that? To get it for 20 quid, but you get so much more with it.
Yeah.
I guess
it's horses for courses, isn't it?
With this as well, it would be nice if you were able to essentially double up on the voicings so that you could use the same VCO twice and do the detune thing to give you that thickening, maybe by doing two different MIDI channels.
You're just not going to do that at this price point, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's a balance thing.
It is a balance thing, and for what
They'll
it is,
sell bucket loads. They will
101
sell bucket loads of these.
Sort of thing, and it's nice. It's
got motion
sounds
sequencing
good
as well. It's got motion sequencing as well, so you can record your filter sweeps or your envelope tweaks or whatever. Yeah, so you can record all that in there as well. Look, for the price, it's a lovely little thing, and you get 3-note polyphony or paraphony, shall I say? Sorry, Mark, didn't mean to say that word. Haven't spoken to him for ages. Actually, I'll probably upset him with some other rubbish. Andrew Brooks says it's a Volca. Yeah, do you know what it kind of is? And maybe Korg are thinking we might need to up our game here. But
I mean, I think the thing is that's again can be cited as perhaps one of the components of the rebirth of analog and synthesizers again. The resurgence that we're all seeing and enjoying now kind of started with brands like Arturia doing the micro, the mini brute, and then the Volcas at the same time. It was like, wow, this is real stuff, not modelling, which we had like 10 years before. So this is it's not a bad thing to do. I mean, and like I say, it's a good way of opening that door if you don't want to spend. I mean, I was a guitar player, still am. So I started playing synths because
it's a matter of opinion.
I wanted
player
because I wanted to stop it. My gateway drug, I think, was probably the micro Korg that I had, which I picked up for 70 quid, I think. And that was just something I could just sit in my room, and obviously the presets, and just tweak a little bit with what minimal things there were. This might be a very similar thing,
Yeah, I actually had my first kind of proper experience with a micro Korg recently. I had to do some sound design for someone, and they handed me a bunch of stems from an album and said, the artist wants me to play these parts, but all I've got is a Korg, micro Korg. And I'm like, oh, this is it's not going to work. Yeah. And so I've got the software version, and I started playing around with it, and I thought, do you know what? I can actually get quite close to this. And then she brought the hardware in, and it sounded, for what it was, I mean, I can see why it was such a popular little synth. So, yeah, I mean, if you can pick something up for that sort of price, And
that sort of price, think about what we had when we started out, all of us, having that level of sound. But having that level of sound design available to you. Now, I mean,
for that.
It's not the big boy stuff. It doesn't matter. You can make hits with that stuff.
Yeah,
you can.
When I was a kid, I lusted after an SH101, which at the time was 250 quid, brand new. But of course, by if you whatever £250 in 1982 was, today probably nearer 1,000. So you can imagine, and there was no way on earth I was ever going to, no paper round that I did was ever going to get me the money to buy one of those. And now you've got this. So absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's not all. That's not all.
And there's
Because
more.
Patrick alluded to the Pro VS Mini in that particular trailer,
did,
being the
didn't he?
first one. Yeah. Well, it turns out that the Pro VS Mini has now had a shot in the arm as well, not only from an instrument perspective, but also from its demonstrator online.
I've got the pleasure to show you the 2.0 update for Behringer Pro VS Mini. One voice, two voice, three voices, four voices. Oh no, now you've got 5 voices. 5 voices instead of 4. Thanks to this, you can create more complex chords, better harmony. You can play richer now. Let me show you. Now we've got a hold mode in Arpeggiator. How it works? It keeps Arpeggiator running after you release the keys. Let's check this. Let's change the mode in system from the sequence to arpeggio and switch on the arpeggio hold. Look at this. Arpeggio is running and now... That's what I like.
He's very excited, isn't he?
He's very happy.
It's
very...
Christmas for him every day.
Every day, yes. There has been a lot. Let's address this right up front. There's been a lot of talk about this guy. Look,
What, the extra from Toy Story, the bully from Toy Story? Or was it the Adams?
I'm sorry. A lot of people are sort of having a go at him because when he demonstrates the thing that we're going to talk about after this, he was pulling some extraordinary guitar faces or synth faces or filter faces even. But he's getting a lot of... But he's incredibly enthusiastic and he can play.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, he can play, and we all
play.
pull those faces. You know,
But-
we all pull those faces. So,
But mostly
Yeah.
in private. But listen, the the Pro V... Honestly, my brain today. The Pro VS Mini has just received an update to version 2.0. It gains, as he so enthusiastically put, an extra voice, which enables you to do so much. But actually, you know, it's just one voice added on. But it's nice. So there's one less chance of note stealing. But yeah, you get 5 voices now instead of 4. You get the arpeggiator hold. There's a chord mode in there as well. And a few other bits and bobs. I think portamento has been added. What else was there? There's a whole new set of presets in there from ultimatepatches.com. So there's quite a bit. And of course, all of this is completely free of charge in a unit that costs around £70 to £80. And actually, I kind of like this one because the VS sound is something I like my digital synths, and this is quite a nice little thing.
I've always wanted a VS, actually.
Yeah. I think we all. And of course, we talked to one of its creators last week. But yeah, it's again, what can we say about this? That we can't really say anything bad about it because it's a cracking little synthesizer for pocket money, literally pocket money. 16-step sequencer, arpeggiator. It's got a analog low pass filter, vector, morphing. You can't really go wrong. Again, a couple of these, and I don't think you can polychain these. I'm pretty sure you can't on any of this stuff from Behringer. But
Are you sure? Because I know they did that with their sort of Eurorack encased modules. You can polychain most of those.
Oh, can you? Oh, right.
Yeah. When I did the the K2 can be polychained, for instance, and that's quite exciting.
Because Be worth looking. If anybody in the chat knows whether you can polychain these things, do let us know.
Yeah, whether
provide us
the little pocket money ones are. But,
yeah.
So
Tina's saying nothing. No.
So, actually, despite being unseasonably unkind about that, the chap that presented, he did do a good job, and
Yes.
I did watch it through to the end. So, my apologies. And you know what? That extra voice does make a difference. It does make a difference. And the chorusing sounds, or the ensemble, doesn't sound bad at all.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's got those effects in there, hasn't it? So an
Well,
ensemble
it's got a
and
reverb which sounds a bit pants, but do you know what? It sounds like a sort of. It sounds like a reverb, like a spring reverb or something to me. But that's all right. That's worked really well for a bazillion years.
Yeah.
So, and the vector thing does work. I mean, it's 80 quid. And they've rather than just putting it out and then releasing a new one where you've got to buy it to get all the new features, it's a firmware upgrade, and they've released the software.
Yeah.
The software, the plugin for it as well.
Have they?
It's really hard to find a reason not to do any. I can't find anything to complain about with this. I can't.
No, it's again, it is what it is. It has a market. It does a fairly decent job for the price, and I'm sure lots of people will get lots of pleasure out of them.
Yeah. Or at least look at it and go, I'll spend more money and buy something else from someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, or buy both of these, which is kind of a single Jupiter 8 voice SH101, whatever you want to call it, plus this, 160 quid. You've got a really, you've got a decent sound setup.
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah. It's nice. You can't argue with it at that price and at that feature set for that price. You can't argue at all, whether you like the company or not. You just can't argue with it. The Pro VS Mini has just been updated to version 2. You can download that into your Pro VS Mini via the Synth Tribe application, which is free to download from the Behringer website. So just go and check those out. And as I said, you also get a whole bunch of brand new presets thrown in from ultimatepatches.com. And they do a lot of stuff. So I featured them a few times on Gear News. So there we go. But I think the most exciting and the most interesting and talked about products, and apparently we have more coming down the line. They've promised 6 to 8 new things before the end of the year, and that gives them about 3 weeks. But the other thing that they've released, which was rather enthusiastically presented, as we mentioned earlier, I've chosen the other video just so that we get a broad coverage, and we let the guy off some of the flack that he's getting. Behringer finally, after 4 odd years of development, they've released the Wave.
Hello, Gatubas here. Today I'm so excited and honored to present you a very special synth. 4 years in the making, and the wait is finally over. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most iconic synths ever conceived has been reborn. An 8-voice hybrid wavetable synthesizer that blends digital precision with analog warmth. Introducing Behringer Wave. The Wave features 8 voices, each with dual wavetable oscillators fed into the V2044 analog filter. It has 30 factory wavetables, 64 user-defined, and 32 slots for custom transients that can be imported thanks to the Synth Tribe app. Back in the 80s, the original revolutionized electronic music and shaped the sound of countless hits. Tangerine Dream, Thomas Dolby, David Bowie, Trevor Horn, Depeche Mode, and many others. Today, the Behringer Wave continues that legacy.
So there we go. That was Gatubus there, telling us about the brand new Behringer Wave. It's been on the cards for, as he said, about 4 years since they first teased us with a picture, which is what they do. And of course, I think the most newsworthy thing that was said about this week was, yes, it's been announced and released, but most shops are saying 3 to 6 months before they get any stock. Of course, that will probably change, but expect it soon. Well, Andrew, I'll come to you first because you're old. older than the rest of us, apparently.
Older than God.
PPG Wave, of course, which is what this is based on. Much experience with that old beast?
I bought one of the first PPG Wave 2s that came into the country, not the 2.1s or the 2s or the 2.3s, the 2. It was a very, very early model.
1908 that came out, didn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And, about the 9th century or something like that.
Queen Victoria was still on the throne.
And I remember it was a very unique sound. I was still dicking around with things like the Selena string machine and SH-101s and, Krumar things that everyone thought were cheap and nasty, but actually were great. And what I remember most about it, and still do, is everyone else was going for the really digital sounds. But actually, you could get some really warm, it's the filters, I think. You could get some really, really warm analog, bassy and leady and synthy sounds out of it without going through all the wavetables. They were kind of, for me, an as well thing. It was an astonishing synth. And they seem to have done a really, really good job with this. I mean, if what we're hearing is what it is, it sounds pretty bloody amazing. And I have to say, the original Wave 2 was noisy. It broke up a bit at the end of, all that kind of stuff that you got with those early digi synths. But I still loved it. And I think this is at this price, it's a synth, which happens to be wavetable as well. And for those people that love the wavetable thing, they're going to love this. They're going to love this. And you can load your own in. So, this price, $579, something like that.
$579 UK, $599 US.
With Aftertouch, it's stupidly good.
What I've heard of it, and all I've heard is the demo videos that everyone else has heard. It sounds very good, but it sounds very clean. And as you said,
there's a bit of
but so did the original.
Grit. No, the original had a grit to it. It definitely had something about it that wasn't quite pristine. This sounds a little bit. I think. Yeah, and it's probably the DACs that Behringer are using are probably modern DACs. They're probably not modelled on something that was older, and so it just is going to sound a little bit clean. But I think it kind of takes the edge off, and that's what it needs to have, is to have the edge taken off, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's 579. I think it sounds pretty good.
49 keys. Anybody got a problem with that?
A lot of people have said 5 octaves they wanted, and they're bitching about it. We'll wait until blah blah blah. Why do I? Can I have a desktop? It's 579 quid, people. Flipping heck. Really.
I mean, the
what
PPG
do you think,
is a big synth. This is not a big synth. So it's kind of like I would want a full size PPG Wave experience. I think for my money, I've got my Wave XT, my Microwave XT is in that ballpark, and it's dirty and it's gritty and it's nasty. But to find them second hand, you're over $1,000.
Yeah.
And that's, as you can see, you might be able to see, these little black posts are the ever decreasing. Let me show you this in the top down. This is what happens to the knobs. Look at that.
Yikes.
It's horrendous. And actually, that will if I crush that with my fingers, it will break.
Brittle, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that with my modular because But that's one of the things. And the fascia is, the paint that they use isn't good as well. So there's a whole world of pain. But sonically, it's phenomenal, and nothing really can beat it. But it's that thing, isn't it? Can I justify the 10, 20 grand, whatever it will be, to buy a PPG? I don't have the space for it.
True.
One of the reasons for getting the original PPG was because it had that angle fascia, and then it had a flat black
Put
top.
something else on top.
Yeah, exactly that. And that was really important in those days. Now, I don't give a monkeys. It's kind of... I know it's going to be smaller. If I want that sound at that price, they're going to sell a lot of these. They're going to sell a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they will. And I'm even when they first announced this, I thought, oh, could this be the one Behringer synth I actually lay down my own hard-earned cash for?
I've just talked myself out of that. I had the same thought.
Yeah.
But I've just talked myself out of that because I already own something that has everything that the PPG has, and then a little bit more. It's enough. It's close enough. I wonder, on the back of this, with the massive 3 to 6 month wait, I wonder how many of the software, the Waldorf PPG Wave 3 version 3, how many? That's $29 or something, right? So how many of those are they going to sell in the meantime? So it might actually do something really good.
It could
for
do.
Waldorf.
It could do. And to that point, I'm a massive fan of that plugin because there were a handful of synths back in the day that I couldn't afford. Fairlight, DX7, PPG Wave, and when I got that Wave plugin, I was like, this is heaven. I love these sounds going through. Like, that was on that record, and that was on that record. It was brilliant. And I actually spoke to Michael Mertens from Propaganda before I bought it, because I think I just posted something up on Facebook saying, has anybody got this and can tell me how good it is? And Mertens popped up and he said, when I played this, it was like I was back in the studio in 84 when we were recording A Secret Wish. It was exactly the same. And I went through it. And on that recommendation, I bought it. And I think I got it on sale because I think it was 159 and I got it for 75 or something. Yeah. My only argument with that plugin is that it hasn't been updated from a UI perspective. Forget everything else, just update the UI. Yeah. It's so small, especially when, as our screens have got bigger, that just inherently gets smaller and smaller. So it is a bit of a pain to use.
Just end up with a massive plugin on your screen.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, but it's just a pain to use. However, from a PPG perspective, we now have excellent choice. Because we've got this at 500 and something, we've got at the budget end of the scale, we've got a plug-in, and at the top end of the scale, we've got the wonderful third wave from Groove Synthesis, which is in effect a PPG and so much more, and there is more to come as well. There's loads. They've got loads of kind of ideas that they're going to, what they're going to do with the third wave that I can't say, but it's. Yeah, so there's something to, if you want that wave sound, there is something there for everyone. And if you can afford to buy the third wave, and it is worth every penny, it's a fantastic thing. It's great. But if you can't, then here's the wave. I just wondered why they didn't go 61 key and make this 799. Because I think lots of people would have paid 799 for that with 61 keys.
If they'd have gone 799 and given 20 quid to Wolfgang for every one they sold or something, that would have been one thing, but that's to one side. Let's put that to one side. Let's just put that to one side. Because for me, I do remember when using the Wave back in the 80s and going into the 90s, sometimes the sounds were just too clean. They were just too clean. And they had a very... sometimes it was difficult to make them sit in a mix because it was too whatever. So I kind of moved away from it a little. But whenever I did go back to it, I found myself using a compressor to give it that, give it even more of a transient, something which they've put, you can put your own transients in this.
Yes.
And I would often run it through a set of pedals.
Yeah.
Because it would give it that.
You need to, don't you? You need any synth that has to have some effects, and that's always been the case. It doesn't have any effects in, does it?
This doesn't.
Which is a bit of an omission. It's a bit of a. Okay,
when you
so
consider,
I don't think it is.
But when you consider
really
they put some basic effects in that the Pro VS Mini.
Yeah, exactly. So why not just throw in a very basic sort of set of three, reverbs, delays, choruses, flanges, that kind of stuff that you can then, get.
Because you can buy their pedals.
Well, true.
I did that. Sorry.
Hey, listen. This is a good thing. They didn't put any effects on their Model D.
No, true.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
And that's kind of where it's at, isn't it? It's whether or not you call it an homage or whatever, it is a pretty faithful reproduction. As I say, I don't know what the sound's quite like, but it sounds pretty good from the demos. So I don't have a problem with it.
So another bit of news that came out of Behringer in the last week is that they're actually going to be at NAMM at the beginning of next year. They're actually going to be at the event rather than 50 miles away in a hotel somewhere. They're actually going to go and be at the event, which is interesting in its own right. I'm hoping that they might even turn up to Super Booth, and I'd like to have a play on one of these. I'd just like to try it. I'm still on the fence. I might actually just pick one up for shizzles and giggles, and if I don't like it, I'll sell it. But I don't know. It's interesting.
It is interesting. It is. It's interesting.
Between this and their Lindrum clone, those were the two that sort of make me go, oh God, no! I'm going to have to decide now whether I should put my my standards to one side.
It's catnip, isn't it?
And they're turning out a lot of good stuff now. They are turning out a lot of good stuff, and they've got a huge fan base as well.
They have.
Indeed.
They actually have. So,
and that's
a lot of people love their
stimulating all
stuff.
sorts of things further down the road. So,
But don't expect one of these in your stocking this Christmas, because as we've said, most retailers are. I think some are saying, Anderson's I think dropped it from 3 months to 1 month. Others are saying up to 6 months. They're quoting June. Tomann are saying several months. They're not committing to anything. So I wouldn't be surprised if the what do they call them? Because Behringer did some deals, didn't they, with certain like Anderton's super partners or something.
Super partners,
Something
something like that.
Tomann are definitely a super partner.
Yeah. So
and generally, Tomann are pretty. That when they start quoting delivery dates, then generally.
So there you go. Behringer Wave is finally almost here. And I will look forward to. I think what I might do is just wait until some other people have got it, give us their demonstrations and their, or maybe I should be one of those people. I don't know.
Well, you know what's. Anytime there's a Behringer video, you get huge traction because there's
maybe
huge
that's
fan
what we
base,
need to
and
do.
It's the price. So if you want to start. I mean, my biggest video is the one I did with Gaz with the DeepMind 12. So that's some years ago now. But
I got a lot when I did the MS-101, but I did that on my personal channel rather than this one. But that got like you say, got a lot of hits. Maybe that's the shot in the arm that this channel needs, and it comes from Behringer. Oh, I feel dirty. Anyway,
dirty with that, as you should.
It's fast approaching the top of the midway point in the show. We've got more stuff to talk about in terms of gear and other events. Before we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is going to be our new regular feature of Synthspirations. We mentioned Tomann there. There's I wanted to ask you, Jason, about this. We mentioned Tomann, and there's been a documentary video released by Tomann, all about Hans and how he started, and it's kind of one of those like mini sort of documentaries, a little drama documentary thrown in there with his young self in his father's shop. It's worth a watch. I would highly recommend you watch the German language version with the English subtitles rather than the dubbed version. Because it doesn't convey the emotion of what's being said, and the dubbing is a little bit too happy and jolly. Because it's quite an emotional thing. Have you watched it, Jason?
Do you know I haven't?
No,
not yet.
So
I've just. You can't. Yeah, I can't.
The reason I wanted to ask you, because you used to do work for Tomann.
I still do. I've released a video last Monday, second for them. I don't do as much content as I used to,
right?
But I still do the occasional video for them. Yeah, and I've been to the store in Treppendorf. So many times. Certainly that 2019, I was there once a month for the entire year, and then we did some other crazy stuff as well. Sort of. Bizarre things, like we did a gig on the lake outside the front, which was just bizarre. I ended up playing keyboards, which is not my instrument. I managed to get a guitar along as well. But yeah, it was a bit of an odd one, because it was like the guitar department, or the guitar YouTube channel, and then there was the store YouTube channel, and then there was me, and then there's the bass channel, and it was just all on the drum channel. So we all kind of got together to do this gig. And it was fun. It was a week of rehearsals, and then the gig was live streamed. But we were on this lake. in front of the building. And
Is
it's
it a German thing? Because they do that at Superbooth as well. Don't they have a stage in the middle of a very shallow lake?
I think it must be.
Must be a German thing.
Must be a German thing. Let's put a band on the lake.
Yeah, indeed.
Everybody will like it.
Let's kill them with water.
The instrument certainly did not like it.
Indeed.
But yeah, so.
Yeah, no, I watched this this mini documentary with some, because I have a slight vested interest in it, and I was quite moved by it.
Yeah,
I didn't really know anything about Hans at all until then, and especially when you they spoke to his friends and his wife as well. I think his daughter. I think the whole family work there. It is a family business.
Yeah,
but
totally,
what an operation! I mean, I just figured it was just a very large warehouse in the middle of, but is it Bavaria? Or
Franconia, actually.
Franconia, right. So, but I just imagine just like a big. But when you see inside, I mean, it puts Amazon to shame.
It's huge.
The logistics that they've got going on is insane.
And they've been automated. They've been automated for a long time, beyond. So there's that side of things. You've got the office blocks where marketing. That's where I would spend a lot of my time whilst there. There's studios as well for video stuff. Initially, if you find the Tomann Synth Reactor, which is where I started my journey with them, in 2019, there was this old house which they purchased, ripped everything out, drilled holes into walls, had 4 studios built, 3 studios. No, it was 4. It was 4, and we would, all the YouTubers would arrive and do their content in there. But I think that was part of his family's or something anyway. But it was an interesting kind of thing. And the shop itself was a house to start with.
Yeah,
you walk into it now, and you still walk into the entrance of the house, and then suddenly you're in this warehouse. It's like, oh, this is huge. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
there was a clip.
Yeah,
there was a clip of somebody who lives in a property or an apartment or whatever,
Schweppendorf,
next to the factory, and you'd think they'd be fuming, but they're not. They're very proud of this. It's a really, really good little documentary. It's only about half an hour long. It's on the Tomann YouTube channel. They have many, but it's on the core Tomann channel. There's different language versions and dubbed versions, but I prefer to listen to the German and read the subtitles. It's like I like my videos like I like Kraftwerk. I like the original German, not the English.
I wonder where that was going. By the way, sorry about that. We had my wife. I delivered my wife to her Christmas party today, and
has somebody delivered her back?
So I'm home alone. Yeah, I'm doing taxi for Christmas, and we just had a food delivery that she didn't tell me about. So my apologies.
Lovely.
No, shopping.
Oh,
anyway,
okay, shopping did. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm very surprised, Jason, you didn't see that video. I'm really, really disappointed you didn't watch it, mate.
I know.
I'm just.
It's on my catch-up list.
Are you not contractually
I've got so
obliged?
much content.
I haven't watched any of it, by the way, but I'm going to.
But yeah.
I have watched another video though, so
It's interesting, and especially with when you. We might come on to this later on, but the topic of the topic of conversation at the moment around a lot of synth community channels is about the cost of things and the price of things and all this. And but when you see what's gone into Tomann, it's huge, and and they're able to do things at incredible prices because they can buy in this sort of incredible bulk amount. But it's really interesting that this one guy is still at the heart, and I hate micromanaging, and he does seem to be a bit of a micromanager because I don't know whether it was just staged for the documentary, but he's walking around with his mobile phone telling a forklift truck driver off for not having a tarpaulin over the things that he's got on his forks, and he's the CEO. Sometimes that's good. Yeah, sometimes that's a good thing that they care that much, but sometimes it's not a good thing because they're micromanaging. But he does seem like a really genuine guy.
So big hotels, the really big, expensive, posh, the Ritz, Claridge's, all of those, the Savoy, all of those have managers who will pick up every little thing. That there's a crease in that tablecloth 5 tables away. There's a crease that shouldn't be there. Go and deal with it. Align that teaspoon somewhere. This hasn't been. That's part of. There's a certain mentality, and I think in this case, clearly it's worked.
Yeah.
It's worked.
It's your family name. When your family
exactly.
name's on the building,
Yeah.
you've got to have some sense of ownership and care
Yes.
of
Absolutely.
everything
Yeah, yeah.
from the forklift truck, I guess. I suppose that's... I don't know if I've ever witnessed anything like that in my visits there, but, it's telling the story that he does care. And I think
Yeah.
that's,
Oh, absolutely,
that's
yeah.
commendable. I think
Yeah.
that's right, actually.
Definitely.
So,
It's
but
a
yeah, I haven't
really
seen
interesting
it
watch.
yet.
It's a really interesting watch. I thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's a really
So
interesting watch.
we're now at 8:00. It's time for our latest new feature on the show, which is, of course, Inspirations. We want to know what music inspired you to make music with synthesizers. Be it an album, single, or an entire artist's body of work, we want you to tell us why it inspired you, and given that we're a synth show, which instruments used on that album really made an impact. All you need to do is film yourself talking about your synthspiration for a few minutes, and we'll feature it on the show and discuss it. Send your video clips along with your name or handle to prosynthnetwork@gmail.com using a file sharing service like WeTransfer, and you could feature on a ProSynth Network live show soon. It's true, you can. That's all you got to do. If you've got some music that has inspired you to make music with synthesizers, music technology, that kind of thing, but particularly synthesizers, film yourself talking about it. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be, particularly wonderfully produced. We've had just people talking to cameras. We've had last week's was great. It was just somebody who made a word and picture collage and some audio in there as well. And it was great because we actually learned, we learned what he was inspired by, and it was organs, which of course preceded everything that we have here. This week we've got a very special video from one of our very regular viewers, somebody who I've met frequently at many a synth show. You can't miss him because he's always dressed head to toe in orange. He has always got his big bandana around his head and his little glasses and his orange t-shirts and everything else. Stop doing that, will you? It is, in case you hadn't figured out, the one and only Keith in Watford. And Keith has a little story to tell, so let's hear it.
Go.
Well, hello, Keith in Watford here. Just come to talk about the album, the music that influenced me into my love of synthesizers, keyboards, electronic music, etc, etc, etc. Brief history. 1971, my parents bought me a transistor radio, and I started listening to the likes of Radio Luxembourg, washing in and out of Europe in the evenings, and Radio 1, quite like pop music. And so, watching Top of the Pops, synthesizers started to appear, making all sorts of weird and wonderful noises. So I had an interest in keyboards anyway. My parents had bought me they'd inherited a piano off a relative that had moved away. So I was taking basic piano lessons, basic ones, and watched Top of the Pops, watched lots of Top of the Pops, watched it through, and then artists like bands like ELO come on the scene, and then Richard Tandy, his piano and synthesizer keyboard playing exemplary, got a lot of ELO records, and then of course lots of other bands come along, but this was all in my school days. So round about whatever year this album is, 1970, can't see it, came out, and my mate had bought it, my schoolmate had bought it, and listened to it at his house. Blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. Japanese artists, synthesizers, just didn't believe that it could be done and things like that. Teasing picture on the back cover of his setup, and that was it. Played it, Played it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Bought my own copy. So this is it, my own copy. It's Tomatoes, Snowflakes Are Dancing. It's the music of Debussy. What's that, Frank? It's pronounced Debussy. Oh, okay. So it's the music of Debussy. Front and back. There you go. So it's took synthesizers beyond any realms, worlds that I ever knew existed. And it was a long time before I actually heard Walter / Wendy Carlos and the Switched On series. But unlike the Carlos records, this just took synthesizers to another world, another dimension. The tracks on it, I wasn't aware of the music of Debussy. But obviously for me it was a great introduction. The tracks, the first 4 notes, Snowflake, the track side A, track 1, Snowflakes Are Dancing, the first 4 notes repeating and then evolving as the track went on. All the tracks just so different. The introduction of all sorts of sounds, including, unfortunately, there's a non-PC one now called something Cakewalk, but it's on there. On the back, there's a picture of the man himself, some of the Moog, and the listing of the modules in the Moog, the 2 mixers used, the 5 tape recorders, and some accessories including the Benson Eckerec Dimension 4 Fender Mellotron, AKG Echo Unit, and an Eventide Clockworks Instant Phaser. All adds up to synthesizer sounds just being taken, as I said, into another dimension. If you've never heard it, give it a listen. If you have heard it, well, you know what I'm talking about. That is what set me off. And in the sort of mid-70s, there's no internet, obviously. We just relied on virtually nothing of our information and it all, but that's where it all started. So I will say that is my choice, and TTFN.
And thank you very much indeed, Mr. Keith in Watford. I think that deserves a round of applause. So I have a few comments. First of all, I completely agree. That was one of the first albums that really sort of introduced me to classical music made with synthesizers. I probably heard that before I heard Wendy Carlos. So yeah, it was a massive thing for me, and it made me also a huge Debussy or Debussy fan, as Keith said. Right. Yeah, just a brilliant album. I've got it as well. It's just fantastic.
I don't know it, but I love the Planets. His version of the Planets is
you've got to listen to this.
Seminal. So I've got to hear that now. So
definitely got to hear that. I have a message for Keith, by the way. I think that was about 3 minutes. He'll know what I'm talking about. 3 minutes before anybody noticed what he was sat behind. Anybody notice what he was sat behind?
DX7.
Oh yeah.
DX1.
DX1 in its correct form is a table.
Yes, indeed. You could have your dinner off it.
He's got a DX1.
He's got a DX1.
Bloody hell, well done, that man.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just to prove it, he also bought a Christmas jumper.
In orange?
Look at that.
And he's got, look
fabulous.
at that, he's got the 2 cartridges.
And
cards.
Dare I say, to his left of his head, he's got a Future Sound Systems crick box there as well.
Yeah.
That's a crick.
It's a crick.
I'd love to
there you go.
I'd love to have a crack at a crick.
Indeed, wouldn't we all?
It's on my list, yeah.
But look at that, Pro Synth Network Christmas jumper.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Love some of that. But yeah, Andy, thoughts on Debussy?
Well, I'm going to cover more of that when I get to my Synth Inspirations. But what I will say is what, and I will, what Keith was alluding to there with it's particularly with the cover. It was one of the things I think that got a lot of us at that time into synths, as aside from the music, was the fact there were this list. There was usually pictures of all the gear, so various different keyboard players with all the gear around them. And you were trying to spot what was what, and they had these things like frequency dividers and harmonizers and God knows what else, and you're thinking, what is that? What does that even? What is a time modulator? And so you became fascinated, and you'd look it up, and inevitably it drew you in. So I loved that about then, and I miss being able to see that. But great album. It's a great album, and he's such a good player, such a good player.
So's Tomann,
and arranger.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is. Somebody said in the chat, who wasn't? It was Peter Coit, said, and I actually thought that when I first saw the album cover in whatever year it was, I thought it was Dr. Spock on the cover. Have a look at the cover. It does very much look like Spock. And Synchrotron says, to turn me on to a world, I think that's supposed to say a world of classics. It's very true. I had no idea who Debussy was. I remember hearing that album before I got it on Dave Lee Travis's Sunday show when he played
Harry Cornflake.
Yeah, he used to play, what's the track? Begins with A, Arabesque. He used to play Arabesque as a bed for some feature on the show, and it was that sort of thing going on. Obviously, a lot better than that.
Arabesque.
Yeah,
that was spot on.
It was almost, yeah. But yeah, that's how. And and then when I got the album and I heard that, I was like, oh my god, I know this. I've heard this before. And then the rest of the album is just incredible. It's such a good album, and a really great choice from Keith there, both in terms of his Synthrations and his choice of jumper and synthesizer. So I'm not alone now in the DX1 club.
Absolutely,
which is nice.
Just point out that Dina also said that her dad loved classical and played everything. So
there you go. Yes,
also a fan. That's high praise indeed.
Absolutely. Let's use that as a beautiful segue. Because a segue. We're going to have Dina on the show early part of next year, because Dina is on a bit of a fundraising effort. She's got a goal of $50,000. And so we're going to encourage everyone to go over to the Alan R. Perlman Foundation website, where you can buy I've lost the link. Here it is. Let's share this on the screen. Share this tab. Here we go. Add to the stage. You can buy loads of wonderful Art Foundation merchandise. Lots and lots of things going on there. Books, t-shirts, hats, mugs, cushions, tote bags, and so on and so forth. Mobile phone covers, mouse mats, corkback coasters, lots and lots of things. And they're even doing a wonderful line in t-shirts. Let me see, where's the video gone? Here's the video. This will mute the microphones, and it's a silent video, so I will unmute them as soon as I do this. There we go. So this is a range of t-shirts celebrating women in synthesizers, and we must celebrate the women in synthesizers, particularly the likes of Dina, who is doing fantastic work at the Alan R. Perlman Foundation in making sure her father is remembered appropriately. And of course, the whole point of this is that next year would have been Alan's 100th birthday. So the year 2025 is going to be massively important. To that end, and because it's a date in your calendars, there will be a calendar, and the calendar, and we've been provided with some exclusive pictures here that will feature in the calendar, and this is available to buy right now for $18.99. You should get this if you were in the continental United States. You should get this in time for the start of the new year, but if you're outside of the US, you might get it a little later, but that's not a problem, because the main reason you're buying this, other than the wonderful pictures, is of course to support the Alan R. Perlman Foundation. And there's lots of wonderful information, news clippings, and apparently Dina tells me there's stuff in there that nobody really knows about her father, so it's going to be an education as well. So there we go. Lots of wonderful goodies. There's the calendar to buy in the store for $18.99, shipping worldwide, and as all the merchandise is. So hopefully we've drummed up a little bit of business for the wonderful Dina, and she will be on the show early part of next year once we have some slots in our schedule. So
it'd be good to have her on.
Love that.
Absolutely, always good to have.
Already.
Yeah. It's Tom.
Fabulous. Tom's, he was pacing up and down, so I figured it was time to give him a bit of screen time.
Absolutely.
Is he on his patch? Do you see what I did there?
I've got the buttons back.
Oh dear.
You have. There he is. Look.
Oh, look at him. I'm going to a cat cafe tomorrow.
You should. Definitely.
Where is this cat cafe?
It's in Norwich on Dereham Road.
Norwich.
Norwich. Yeah.
Oh, Norwich.
Anyway, that's enough of that. So links in the chat, I believe. Almanar Perlman Foundation, go and fill your boots. If you haven't, let me just put the link for the calendar, and then you can do everything else from there. Boom, there it is in the chat.
Amazing.
Go and fill your boots with that stuff. Right. I think we should talk to our guest. I think we should give our guest a little bit of
Give him some
grilling.
airtime.
He's had it easy so far.
I have had it
Jason,
easy, actually, to be fair.
start at the very beginning.
A very good place to start.
Oh my goodness.
Let's maybe not start at the very. Let's start at the very beginning of your musical journey. Oh, he's got his book.
Oh my
his book
goodness.
where did your musical journey start, and how did you end up here today?
Oh my God. Set a timer. Well, I think, welcome back to the 80s, where music was on television at many times. By this point, I'd already met a synthesizer. I guess, like most people, you grow up, I grew up in the 70s, so I think both my parents loved to listen to music. I remember my dad had this reel-to-reel, which was always playing when I was going to bed. So I was subjected to a lot of Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
A lot of Rainbow. A lot of what else would and then my mum juxtaposed that with, I remember listening to I think Barry White, a lot of more soulful influences. Barry White, bit of that kind of mostly Stax kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think, was it oh my goodness, I'm having a bit of a blank, but there was we were, my dad was in the RAF, so we were in Belgium, so a lot of Euro pop music, a lot of synthesizers were on the radio anyway, and I remember hearing things like Popcorn, and yes. I remember hearing then Oxygen, and I think that probably did it for me. So that kind of interest lasted in the 80s. My mum got a few Vangelis records, as well as ELO. It was always in the mix. So a good blend of synth music. So by the time I hit teenage years, I wanted to play guitar.
Okay. Makes sense.
I don't know why that happened, but it did. But I was always interested in synths anyway. So that kind of then led to synths and songwriting. This is what happens.
Oh, bless.
So I'm talking here. Hang on, my in-ear's falling out because I've changed things around, but it's because I never use this. So by the time I was in high school, a friend of mine and I just went on a bit of a Jean-Michel Jarre excursion. So Oxygen, Equinox, those first two albums especially. And beyond that, I guess, into the 90s, I'd started amassing keyboards because, I was trying to write songs. And, of course, a song with a guitar, drum machine, bass guitar, vocals. And then I thought, well, I need keyboards. So I started buying keyboards, and that was it, really. As soon as that happened, I started making ambient music and the Orb. Right. And through the 90s, by the end of the 90s, I traded with, and always kind of worked in and out of music shops. So by the end of the 90s, I'd ended up with a job in, actually, early noughties in sound control, of all places.
Okay, I remember them.
Yeah, and they were, are you talking about Tomann having the power to buy bulk and sell low. Well, that was Sound Control's whole ethic. So I made a few friends in that world. One of them was the tour manager and studio manager for Steve Winwood. So I ended up going on tour with them for a few more than 10 years. So I became a roadie. That's a nice little segue. So I think I also Ronnie Size and the whole Represent crew, all the drum and bass artists in Bristol were customers. So I ended up doing guitar sessions for Ronnie Size. So I've tasted a lot of very different things. I've also, another one of my customers was writing music for TV, so I had a taste of that as well, which was really cool. That was really good discipline because you have a brief, you have a time limit, and you have your instruments, and you just go.
Yeah.
That was good discipline. And then I did loads of workshops with kids, and that was also another interesting thing because you're working with enthusiasm and knowability, and that's great because you've got this energy, and then you've got to try and focus it. So, yeah, I think I've tasted most musical careers in the short time I've been here. I say short; it's not that short, but kidding myself. I'm 25.
Yes.
Times 2 and a bit.
It's just the beard. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm an nerd. Yeah, exactly. I guess. Yeah, you and all the way through, you're picking up. I mean, I guess for me, the where you see me now is kind of a direct link to because I then quit working in a music store in 2004 and went sort of solely down the sort of educational workshops. I'm losing my ear again. I think Tom's walked on my cable. That's what he's done. He's pulled it out of my ear. You swine. Hang on. I'm going to reposition. So I'm going to put it in the front so it doesn't fall out. It's going to ruin the aesthetic of my suit.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Well, I do. This is me. So,
in Alan from Cost Accounting from the 1970s suit.
Yes, indeed. Not Percy from purchasing.
Percy from purchasing.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I've known. I also, if I rewind and insert a little point in 1988, I was at sixth form college and hanging around, being a bit of an idiot in the room, and somebody was throwing around a CD. And of course, in 1988, a CD was quite an expensive bit of thing.
Yeah.
We were all laughing hilariously, and then it came to me, and it's like, oh, it's Queen, Sheer Heart Attack. This is my CD. And the guy next to me was also in my geography class. The guy next to me was Gaz Williams. So
that name rings a bell.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people know him, but I've known Gaz since we were 16.
Wow.
But he's been a supporter of. I mean, he was in a funk band while I was doing electronic stuff. So we've both kind of like played. We had a room we lived in this big house, and we had a music room which had everybody's kit, including like a Fender Rhodes. I think Kent talked about an M1, and I'm also an M1 in there as well, which is fun. My Akai sampler, my Prophet 600, and a few other. I think my SH101. And other bits and bobs. So you could just walk in, drum kit, bass kit, you could just jam. So it was really cool. So yeah, like I say, I've definitely explored music. I think is the core thing, rather than just the specifically synthesizers. I think that's an important differentiation because music is music, right? And however you present that is what's interesting and fun, and you can make otherworldly sounding music without using a synthesizer.
Yes.
I mean, one of my favourite soundtracks is Forbidden Planet,
right?
Which does not use a synthesizer.
Nope.
But sounds incredibly otherworldly, and I think that's something we sometimes forget when we're looking at gear and we're looking at all these things. And so I can buy a modular system for $3,000, or I can buy a little synth for 80 quid, and we get kind of caught up in that. Oh God, if I only had this. But sometimes I think it's really nice to limit yourself. And I think going back to those two albums by Jar, Equinox and Oxygen, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, they both use the same kit. With maybe a little bit of flexibility, but ultimately the sound of those two albums it sounds like it's an extension of one over the other. And I think when you're making electronic music, it's very difficult to get your sound if you are continuously moving your kit around. Now I've had that since 2001, maybe 2000. That's always been there. So that's a stayer. A lot of this other stuff is fairly new. So finding kit that you can represent your sound and maintain the integrity of that sound, I think is the goal.
So here's a
trying
question
to make music.
So here's a question for you, Jason. And this is a serious one. So Robbie,
Okay.
just when and why modular? Because it's, I understand the synth things, and especially coming from a music background, playing, I'd have expected keyboards. And you said you had all that kit that you had, which was a very common kind of setup, all those sort of combinations. Yeah. When and why did you get into modular? What happened? What brought that
What went wrong?
No. What happened?
Stop it. Right. It's dead simple. I live in Bristol, right? And in the 90s, there was a music shop called Emis. I think is he still there?
Yes.
And he, in
Mangotsfield.
the 90s, Mangotsfield, yeah. He got the dealership of Dopefer. Now
That's
I was playing in a space rock band. You
admit to this?
I admit to this. It was the mid 90s. Come on.
Okay.
Osric Tentacles are still
Osric's,
good now.
Yeah, they
I
are.
listen to a lot of gong, and I play guitar. So
There
he
you
was
go.
the keyboard player, and I think he bought a JP 8000, and then he traded that in for a Raven, quasi MIDI Raven, and of course, that's there.
Yeah.
My Radical Technologies. Jörg was seminal in that. But he would take me to this wondrous wonderland of synthesizers, because finding a shop now that stocks secondhand gear is just it's everybody sells it online. eBay kind of pretty much killed the market, but the rush you get of walking into smelling that particular smell of electronics, ancient
Warm
electronics.
Yeah.
And all these keyboards laid out, and things that you'd walk down these aisles and go, SH101, SH09. Right, what's that sound like? Oh, I like that. And then, I think I played an SH7 at one point, which just...
Did you see the big modulars there?
Prized away. But it wasn't big, but it was on the counter, or next to the counter, in this A100 case. And I started thinking that would be a good thing to do. And I guess ultimately I just couldn't afford it. And I think I carried on with the way I was writing music and playing with music at the time. I did, however, get was it the Nord Micromodular?
Oh yes.
Which perplexed me. And I think I don't know why now, but at the time it was like, well, I should love this, but I don't. Why don't I love it? When you've got cables and knobs and patch points in front of you, you do it. You just get on with it. When you're in a mouse-driven world, as we all know, it's great for certain things, and I do compose, I suppose, specific music better on a computer in a DAW than I do with my gear, but I have more fun with my gear.
Gotcha.
And I think that's a different. If you've got a project, and I cite back the sort of work I did for TV, this would perhaps perform 10% of it, and you'd perhaps get a few interesting ideas from it, but then you'd have to turn it around so fast that you would then go straight to the computer, and off you go. There's your idea. Bang, bang, bang. Job done. So I think the micro modular, it just did nothing for me. The same with Reactor, or Generator as it was, the Native Instruments plugin. I spent so long trying to recreate Rebirth, but with different synths. I just like, why would I do that? It just wasted more time than gave me pleasure. But when more and more modular stuff's coming out, I guess I took a break. I had a folk band, so I played acoustic guitar. So that I took a break from electronic stuff. But when I came back, I was very much of the opinion that I wanted to make music in the way that they made electronic music in the 70s. And I was listening to a lot of krautrock, and I wanted analog sequencers. And this is, I think, just before the BeatStep Pro, or the BeatStep came out. Because I was online looking at sequencers, so I bought no end of MIDI sequencers and sold them because none of them did what I wanted. I couldn't afford the MAQ, which was the dope for big rack. I even bid on an Oberkorn, one of Tom's old school, but didn't win it. And I then also bought loads of really weird things. I've got this Peruvian synthesizer, which is that's one does. And that's when I bought my where is it? The MFB. And I bought just weird little things so I could actually just jam with the instruments. And then the BeatStep came out, and then it was like, right, this is. And then, like I say, we at the beginning, we've that resurgence, sort of mid-noughties onwards, mid to late noughties, is all this stuff starts piling out, and it's like it's just never ending. So when I got the job with Tomann, one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to document my sort of modular journey, and it didn't kind of work because I don't know. I think they wanted something more instructional. Now I was thinking, well, I don't understand modular, so how can I instruct others if I don't know? Or maybe I can do it as if I'm learning, but they weren't. The idea wasn't. It didn't work.
Right.
So we did a few videos, and it was just like, welcome to here's a thing, here's a what's the name, that's what this, that's what the other, and eventually, over the last couple of years, they got Panic Girl to do some stuff, which is superb. And that's right, okay, now I see what you're trying to do. Fine, she's been doing modular forever.
Yeah, she follows us on Blue Sky now.
Yay! She's lush. Lush. And very talented as well. So, but I guess it wasn't really. I mean, and then I bought the Dreadbox modules, which I lovingly refer to as my Fisher-Price modular set. Because they're so brightly coloured, you just want to play with them, and they're pretty. But they are really powerful, and that's kind of seriously underselling them. But they're really, really good. And I started just fiddling with them, and it wasn't really until Robin invited me to partake in the All-Stars modular patch off at Synth East that I actually thought, I better get on with it then. Been toying around with this thing. So it's only really in the last year that I've been serious about modular, and I absolutely find it because it's exciting, it's interesting, and it's when you get to that point where you go, I just need to do this. How do I do that? And those kind of happy accidents that you make when you don't know what you're doing. And we've all done them because we've all picked up a synth at some point in our life and gone like, what does this do? Why is this doing that? And that's usually in our early time. So anything that can bring back that sense of wonder that we've had with our gear helps us then generate and create music. And I think getting back to that thing, it's about music. It's not about the gear. And however that helps you to create, I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what led to the YouTube channel? Why did you start that, and what is its purpose?
Well, I did the sort of acoustic folk band that kind of died. People just move on and stuff, and I wasn't doing any music. And then Gaz said, look, I want you to play me. Why aren't you doing anything? I said, well, I kind of started doing this and that. And I said, well, he then set this, what was that became the first Sonic State live event, which is, I suppose, one of the first EMOMs, really.
Yeah, I suppose.
And he asked me to play at that. And it's like, okay, it was just a cafe low key thing. And then it became a Sonic State event. And then I was opening it. It's like, but I'm, what am I doing? who am I again? And it's kind of just bizarre that I went from, and of course I ended up doing a set of what I likened to Jethro Tull's first album. Their first album was a blues album, and it was a This Was. This was Jethro Tull. So my set at that was like how I started making music was to have this sort of really confusing, spacey kind of soundtrack of found sounds and sort of wildlife and all sorts of weird things, which I then comped together and put back on a reel-to-reel, because of course that's how I used to do it. And then I made my first purchase in a long time, and I bought probably my first new synth, which was the Sub 37,
yeah.
Yeah, it's M32. It's just the motorway. So I then added my drum machines, and the MFB was in there, and it was really interesting. And it's like, okay, this is cool. So I then, on the back of that, I thought it'd be really cool to then to live stream me playing synths and just enjoy just doing music again, and maybe having an audience, maybe not too bothered. He's like, well, yeah, I like the idea of that, but nobody knows who you are. It's like, well, yeah, but if I just do it. Yeah. So he says, why don't you start making content? So in 2018, it took me so long to make my first video, and it's the synth drum. Where is it? Where are you? You're in here somewhere. I made the synth drum, and because the only content that I could find online was this guy, clearly on a terrible quality camera, with the butt end of a screwdriver hitting it. And I'm thinking, like, what is that? And I think I don't know if there's anyone else who's done there's probably other videos about synths, but I thought, well, let's have a crack at doing a bit of content then. And well, I did, and I enjoyed 3 or 4, and I think it was the 4th one was the MFB synth, which I did, and I had a nice little. It was getting quicker to make videos, and that's when Tom Synth Anatomy was asked to collate a bunch of YouTubers for this event in Germany, in Treppendorf, for Tomann, and he had spoken to Gaz, and Gaz had gone, Jason Jervis, see this guy. It's like, and Tom
terribly gets you into all sorts of trouble, doesn't he, that Gaz?
Well, he still does, and he's going to always be there. I think we've looked after each other for a long time. I will be making some content again with him over the next couple of weeks, because I'm going round his house, so I promised that we'll do something for that. But yeah, it's so ultimately I ended up going to this event as crew. Because I think at the time I had 80 subscribers or something mad. But I made loads of contact, just amazingly. People I still talk to today, and who still support me. Because my channel's still tiny, right? Really. But on the back of that event, I had a screen test. I interviewed. We did an interview with Mark Doty and Gaz, and we did like a little chat.
Wow, Holy Trinity, nice. Right there.
The Holy Trinity. Well, unholy Trinity, surely. But I consider Mark a friend. I really do, and it was so easy and fun. So yeah, that was really cool. And ultimately, yeah, I kind of started making content for Tomann, and I think we're approaching the 5-year sort of anniversary of COVID, aren't we? So kind of made things difficult, because it pushed me to make content here, which I was never set up for. The first couple of videos I made were, against a wall, and actually, if you look at them, it's like I'm really close to the screen. It's like weird. It's like, why would I think that's okay?
Yeah.
But it took me a while to get things going. And the studio it looks massive, but it's not. It's tiny. So I had to try and get it comfortable to work as a studio, but also to work as an area to present new things and old. So yeah it's a
great looking studio, by the way.
Yeah, it's a fun little place. What is the purpose of the channel today? Because you do 2 streams, two live streams a week.
Live streams a week.
What's the purpose of those?
Well, I'm going to blame Peter Coyte for this, because he collared me at Synths. I was toying with the right full-time job, part-time single dad, a homeowner. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life all the time, and we all know this because we've all got busy lives, right? So I missed making content. I'm not getting as much work from Tomann as I was. Their channel's gone in a slightly different direction. And whilst there's still room for me, it's not the same as it was when I started.
Sure.
And in some respects, I kind of like the old school review format, and I think that's a strength that I have. I mean, someone can tell me wrong in the. Please do tell me. Yeah, no, you suck at that. Absolutely, Jervis. Stop reviewing synths, please. We've had enough. But I certainly enjoy making those videos, and they suddenly turn around and say, well, we don't want those anymore. We want sort of added value. We want to sort of showcase this, but with that. And it's like, and it became a very like, well, how do I? You can't. It's a right brain, left brain kind of thing. And it's like, well, how do I make a? Can't I just review it? Can't I just like have the synth and just say, here's the synth? No, you don't want that.
No.
So there's a whole different thing there. So I decided that I wanted to make content again. And last year I had a crack at live stream because I thought, well, do you know what? Tomann don't have a live stream for the synth channel. I think, and I love going to live streams, and I think the community. And I'm talking to all of you in the comments, and actually people watching this after, because a lot of people go back and watch and listen and enjoy post the event.
Yeah.
And I think that's the sort of thing that you feel you're not out there on your own. You're making your quirky, weird music in your bedroom or whatever room it is that you've got to make synth music in, but we're all doing it together, and that's I think the synth community is one of the nicest places. Now I'm saying this very generically because there are perhaps a fringe. There is a fringe to any group of people, right? But ultimately, I think we're a good lot, and we're really supportive. And I think you just scroll through my channel, and I think one of the people who was an immense champion of this is Inky. Yes. And like I say, her loss was big, but also I think we still celebrate her because she reminds us that how our best version of ourselves is to always support and encourage. And I think the synth community does it. So, like I say, Peter coming up to me in Synth East and saying, why did you stop live streaming? And it's like, well, it was fortnightly for starters, which was awkward because it was like, well, I know exactly when my fortnights are, but it's like, well, for an audience member, it's not regular, is it? It's irregular, and it's not quite right. So I thought, well, let's try and do that regularly. And I then tried to flip-flop the jamming in gym jams versus the world of synths or the synth secrets. I'm still not quite sure which is the best title for that. Have them both. But and so it was just then I thought, well, actually I accidentally streamed because I was having so many issues with audio at the beginning of the stream, and anyone who's streamed, I don't know. There's so much to it. It's not as straightforward as it looks when you're watching it. So I went through hell and high water to get to this, state. And I'm still not happy. There's still things I miss and I want. But, I'm going to work on that in the next couple of weeks. But ultimately, I guess I then decided that, so I accidentally streamed on a Saturday, and it was like, oh, there's lots of people turning up, but it's 11:30. It's like, what are you doing up?
We're a sad bunch with not a lot to do.
I thought maybe the weekend. I mean, you guys start the weekend, right?
Yeah.
You're absolutely cruising it. And then for my money, Andy on a Saturday morning, I swear to God, if I don't have that guy, I don't do my chores.
It's a lovely way to wake up.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's brilliant because it's like it becomes my ambient podcast. So I've got the screen on, so I don't always in the chats, but I'm walking around, and actually it does enliven me enough to get up if I've had my first cup of coffee or whatever. It's like, right, I can do something now, and I'll go and do my chores, and then by the time the stream's coming to an end, it's like I'm ready for the next thing.
Yeah.
So Sunday night seemed like an obvious choice to sort of jam out of the weekend. And actually, I think some weeks it's more there's more people turning up, and I think the American market, I mean, it's at 2:00 in the afternoon, so in some places, so it kind of makes sense that way. But yeah,
it does. It does. You mentioned the American market, and shout out to all of our American viewers, and we have a number of them watching us today. It is difficult to try and encompass as much of the globe as possible, because this community does stretch all around the world. And we do this 7 till 9 on a Friday evening, our time, which is mostly convenient for us. But of course in America it's either 2 p.m. on the East Coast or 11 a.m. on the West Coast. But I'm still always constantly amazed at how many people either don't work and watch us, or are working and shouldn't be watching us but do. It's kind of difficult, but I guess that's the beauty of YouTube as a platform, that if you can't watch the live stream, you can always come back for catch up, and it's always there. And when you can make it to the live, people really enjoy it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's brilliant to hear your backstory. I don't know how many people I've heard you tell this the tale of your past, and it's always a fascinating. And I could talk to you for ages about your time with Stevie Winwood on the road. That must have been absolutely amazing. Loads of stuff, and working with Ronnie Size. Wow. I mean, that's just it's incredible. But you do a great channel. We need to get more people to subscribe to it. So if I did post a link in the chat, I'm sure that the moderators will repeat that link for us. But all you got to do is just @GetJervis. The link is actually in the description below this video, so we put that there for all of our guests. Go to that channel, go and subscribe to it, and then have a lovely Sunday evening with Jackson as well, and of course Tuesday nights as well. Yeah.
Do we bring him out now?
Yo, go on then, if you can.
Oh my god, he's
look at that monster.
Hello, Jackson. How are
But-
you?
not on the-
For you.
That's exactly what you got to do, Jackson. Trash it. There you go. That's the bit we all love. My cats love that as well, but they don't do that thing, which is just amazing.
Oh look, not Robbie again, not Robbie 2.0.
He's like, I'm having him again.
You've already done Robbie once.
Ooh.
Come on.
That's the
Going
view
back?
we all want. That's the view we all want.
Yes.
Oh,
The pencil
bless.
sharpener.
Yes. Brilliant stuff.
But he is.
Oh,
But
look
yeah.
at that. Fantastic. There is
He
something
does
about
play.
cats
He
and
plays a
synthesizers.
mean synth. He does play
He
a
does,
mean
I've
synth
heard
as
him.
well. Yeah, he's.
Could we, whilst we're here, because we're getting towards the...
We are.
We're getting towards... Could we make... There's one thing which we didn't mention last week, or the week before, which it would be good to mention or not? One at the top of the list.
What am I, telepathic?
One at the top of the list. You've got the list.
I've got the list. I don't follow
list.
it. Yes. Let's have a look. It's worth. This is a fellow YouTuber, not somebody that maybe many of our audience might be familiar with. You might be, Jason, because you're a guitarist, but we don't hold it against you.
I usually hold the guitar against me though.
Yes, that's the general gist of it. No, there's a guy who has a very, very popular channel, nearly 600,000 subscribers.
Blimey.
A number we could only possibly dream of.
Of.
So he goes under the name of Spectre Sound Studios, and he received...
I've met him. I've interviewed
Oh,
him.
it's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Glenn Frick.
he...
Or Fricker. He hates Steve Winwood. That's the first thing he said to me.
No way.
Okay.
Well, listen,
It was
he
really
put this video up the other week, and the title, you'd think, that's a bit clickbaity, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
It's a very serious thing, and I will play the first sort of few seconds of this. Hopefully he won't copyright strike or anything like that. I doubt he will. But it's we need to watch this, and then we need to help.
I need to stop making YouTube videos. At least for the time being. I'm shooting this Sunday night on November the 24th, and this is going to be a very different video from what I normally do, but I wanted to give you guys, the viewers, an update on what's going on. And Wednesday morning, my wife of 24 years suffered a stroke, and I need to put my focus on her. And I'm totally fine with doing that. That's what marriage is all about. That's what you sign up for. You take care of each other. I'm more than happy to do that. My dilemma here is that I do YouTube for a living, and YouTube is a great lifestyle. It's an amazing way to go through life. It's really, really awesome. Met so many amazing people over the years doing this, and I'm grateful for that. However, the YouTube algorithm, I swear, was based off the movie Goodfellas. You guys ever see that film? You know, the part where the restaurant owner goes into business with the mob. And it's great because he's got all these benefits, but he's got to come with the mob's money every week. Oh, business is bad? Fuck you, pay me. Place caught on fire? Fuck you, pay me. Place got struck by lightning? Fuck you, pay me. Make no mistake, the YouTube algorithm does things exactly the same way. Oh, you're getting married? Where's my fucking content? Oh, you got to take a vacation? Fuck you, where's my content? Oh, your wife's in the ICU on a breathing tube? Fuck you, where's my content? And once again, this is what we sign up for when we become YouTubers. We have to put new videos out no matter what.
Now, I'm going to stop it there because we don't have the time to go any further into it, but I thoroughly encourage everyone to go over to Spectre Sound Studios, get the whole story. But the bottom line is, as we've heard, his wife had a stroke. She's in hospital. He has to take care of her. And he made the decision some while ago, and he's done it incredibly successfully, to make his living from making YouTube videos. But he can't make YouTube videos if he's taking care of his wife, who needs that care. So he came up with an idea where he's created some playlists, and all you got to do is essentially run those playlists, and he will keep hopefully keep his channel active and therefore monetized, and therefore he will still get some modicum of income through that. So this is how it works. We're ProSynth Network, we've got 4,500 subscribers. We don't do this for profit. We're not doing this for a living. All of us have full-time day jobs. Well, Kent kind of, it's got a day job and a night job, I think. But we all have other interests. We've all got our families. We don't do this for a living. This guy does, and we absolutely should help someone who, you know, whether you like this stuff or not, we should help him if we can.
Well, it doesn't really cost anything. As Jason was saying when we were talking to him just now, this whole synth community is a brilliant thing for the most part.
Yeah.
And this whole thing of reaching out to help each other is one of the hallmarks of it, and I love it about that. So please do jump in. Just put the playlist on in the background. It will help him. It will help his wife, and that's what we're all here to do, right?
It's kind of, think of it as like a musical SETI Institute. You remember SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence? And they used to use computer cycles, spare computer cycles, and you'd run the screensaver and it would do all of their, or parts of their computing for them. This is what we're doing here. We just let it run in the background and let this guy earn some money so that he can carry on helping his wife. And then when hopefully she is better, and that's hopefully sooner rather than later, he can get back to making even more quality content. So
it's
help
not
brother
a great
out.
model, YouTube, is it? So there's no insurance there for you if you don't make the content. It's very brutal, and I think his Goodfella reference is good. It is the mob. It is the mob, and
you are beholden to it.
You are, absolutely, and I don't know. I can't monetize until I reach 3 million short views.
Oh wow!
3 million short views. I've got what?
It took us a while to actually get to that point. I've lost on my personal channel. I lost my monetization because I was focusing on this, and all of a sudden I get told, "We're not being, your channel's not monetized anymore." Not that I made,
no,
I think
something, isn't it?
The payment threshold on YouTube is that you've got to make like $60. If you don't make $60, they won't pay out until you do. And then you've got to wait another few months until you make $60. And I wasn't making anything like that off of there. No. What we make off of here goes towards keeping the channel going, along with donations and stuff. But we don't make a profit out of this. But this guy does, and it's his living, it's his livelihood. So we can help. We should. So I will post his, unless I know somebody else has already done it, but let me just drop his channel into the chat. There you go. And every little helps, as they say.
If all you have to do is leave it on play.
I know, just leave it on overnight.
How hard is that?
In the background.
Yeah, not a problem at all. So that is Spectre Sound Studios. Good luck to him. Good luck to his wife as well. I hope she comes through that well and soon.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to talk about something. Again, this was on the list along with Spectre Sound Studios about 2 weeks ago. We were going to talk about the JHS videos or video where he's discussing how much do guitar pedals really cost to make, and it was this kind of overall thing about why things are so expensive, and yet there is a lot of time and effort and money that goes into these things, and there's not a lot of money to be made in the music industry, as I think we all well know. It's there are no rich people in the music industry as far as I can tell, unless of course you're Daniel Ek.
Throttling the
exactly
hell out of everything.
Yeah, so maybe we'll discuss that next week when we have a bit more time to give it the effort it's worth. Although next week is our kind of pre-Christmas show, so I don't want to be too much of a Debbie Downer. But we'll see what turns up in terms of news. After this show, I would like to send you all over, if I can, to this wonderful channel called Symptoms of Reality. There they are. It's the Popcorn Show. They're going live in 3 minutes and 40. They're cutting it fine.
Hopefully waiting for us to finish, so we can join them.
I might just go over a little bit, just to annoy Lamont.
Just to annoy them, I would.
Yeah.
But then we will go over and watch their show.
Yeah,
well,
we will.
You will. I can't, but you will, and I will watch on catch up. But tonight is very special because it's their first live Popcorn Team Jam. What they did is they put a whole bunch of people's names in a hat and then drew them out as pairs, and they had to work with each other. Our very own Kent has been paired with a guy called Uncle Chrome, and we will hear their jam. Yeah, we'll hear their jam. There's lots of stuff going on there. So please do go over, and if you can watch them live, do. If not, watch them on catch up. But that's going to be a really cool stream to watch. Definitely. And there is Lamont in the chat. FFS, Robbie. You're welcome.
We're coming, Lamont. We're coming.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll mess you up.
Jackson's coming. Definitely.
Absolutely. So please do go over there afterwards, after this show, and give them your support. Let's see. There was. Oh yes, I need to mention this. There is a brand new video out from G4 Software, and it's been made by our friend and yours, the wonderful Dave Spears, and it's all about this wee beast,
Mr. Huggett.
Yeah, it's the Oscar.
It's a brilliant video.
It's very touching as well.
Really touching. It's a really good video for anyone into synths. Yeah. Just go and watch it.
15 minutes of Dave. I could listen to Dave talking all day and all night.
Great documentary.
Yeah. I got a sneak preview of this when I went to see him in the summer and stayed over there. He showed me a little clip of this, and I was like, oh, wow, I can't wait for that. So I'm so happy that it's out there. It's completely free. It's on their YouTube channel. And it's a very, very... it's interesting because it's not only a tribute to a friend of his and a great synthesizer designer, Chris Huggett, but it's also a tribute to this wonderful instrument and the story he tells about how it came into his hands and where it went and what it was used on and what it did for him, and the moment when he tells everyone that his lovely wife said, "Oh, I like that one. You should keep that.
You should keep that."
Yeah. We all hope for, isn't it?
Yeah. So, it was brilliant. So, I don't know if Dave is watching, but if you are, we love you, man. Great video. Go and watch it.
Great video.
It's fantastic. So, just wanted to get that one in there, and I think that kind of wraps everything up. We will talk about your pedal, Andrew. I promise. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. But it was a pedal. It was a pedal, and it went to the bottom of the list, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we can put that with the other one. There's also been another little payment.
Has there? Oh, yes, there has. I missed that one. This is from... I don't know who you are. I don't know. Have we ever met? If not, I'd like to. I love the name.
It's a brilliant name.
Too Many Knobs.
Yeah,
brilliant. $10. Thank you for the cat treat fund.
Thank you very much.
Yay.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll put that to good use tomorrow when I go to the cat cafe.
Yeah, you do.
I'll buy myself a slice of cake and a cup of coffee. There we go.
There you go. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much, Too Many Knobs. Can you ever have too many knobs? I don't know.
No.
And one last thing, because not only did Keith in Watford, who gave us his wonderful Synthspirations, show us his Christmas jumper, there it is again, but also our friend Mac Evans has received his ProSynth Network desktop mat, which has just been unrolled, which is why it looks a little bit curly. It's just flattening out. But yeah, if you want one of those for your keyboard and mouse to rest on with a big ProSynth Network logo in the middle, it's available now from our merchandise store. Have I told you about the merchandise store?
Do you do merchandise?
We do merchandise. Yeah. So yes. But there we go. So streams after this. So you got Popcorn Show on Symptoms of Reality that starts probably a minute ago. You've got Andy Synchrotron at 10 a.m. UK time tomorrow with his wonderful morning jams. You've got Ranzi at 1 p.m. UK time tomorrow with Synth Geekery with all of his guests. And then on Sunday, there's some guy with a beard and a cat at 10 p.m. Is
10
that right?
p.m.
10
UK.
p.m. Jamming and Jim Jams.
Modular on the table because I've been busy with other things. So I've lost my mojo.
You've literally just plugged all those cables in just to show off, haven't you? Really, if you turned it on, it wouldn't make any noise.
No, I daren't unplug this.
Jackson, pull a cable out.
No, don't touch it.
Look at him. He's planning. He's plotting.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, 10 p.m. on Sunday. That's UK time. So on the YouTubes. Yep. We will see you jamming in Jim Jams with smoking jacket and cravat,
smoking jacket, and maybe the pipe will come out as well.
Wow.
Who knows?
Bikini?
Awesome stuff.
No, mankini. You'd never know, would you? You'd never know because I was wearing a smoking jacket. So you don't,
exactly.
Up to you. Use your imagination to run wild.
Yeah. I can imagine.
That's it. The power of imagination. Thank you, everyone that's joined us today in the chat and watching. Even if you didn't come in the chat, you're just watching. That's we love to have you. Yeah, lurking gherkins, indeed. Thank you ever so much for watching the show. And if you're watching on catch up, thank you for coming back to check us out, whether it's the first time or a repeat view. We love you. Don't forget to hit that like button and also make sure you subscribe and ring the bell to get the notifications, etc., etc. All the details about Jason are all down below in the description. Massive thank you to Jason Jervis, to Jackson and Tom as well. Thank you very much. Just give them a big round of applause. There we go. How about one of these? Not everybody gets that. Not everybody gets those. We will be back same time, same place next week. It's our Christmas or pre-Christmas show. If there's any news, we'll talk about it. If there isn't, we'll just get drunk.
We'll get very drunk.
Yeah. And then on the following week, which will be the 27th of December, we will have our New Year's or pre-New Year's show where we try and get as many of this year's guests onto the show at the same time to wish everybody a happy New Year and a happy Christmas and all that. And I have had some relatively important names said they will definitely be here. So join us on the 27th,
including Jackson.
Jackson's already signed up. He put his paw on the contract just yesterday.
You know, he'll be home alone. So actually, I'll be in Wiltshire.
Bless. But yes, and do join us for either of those shows to see out the old year and see in the new. And we will see you same time, same place next week. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you to Jason, to Jackson and Tom. And thank you to Andrew, of course. And Kent, thank you very much for not showing up.
Nice.
I was looking forward to Kent as well.
Nice. We all look forward
I'll
to
get
Kent.
you, Sponger. I'll get you.
And by the way, a happy birthday for last week. Because it was...
Yeah.
When was it? It was on Tuesday?
That was a brilliant happy birthday song I did for him.
Indeed. I hope you had a good one.
What range?
Anyway.
What range?
What?
Yeah.
Range? Okay, we will see you very soon. Take care. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.